Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's going on, everybody? How you doing out there? January 20th, 2022. We good into this year. Hopefully you're doing great this evening. Great to see you. My name is Lee Black, and I am hosting tonight's episode of TFG's His and Hers Perspective on the TFG TV platform. So if you aren't familiar, at least once a week, I like to pop in and I like to take a little peek at what's going on over on TFG His and Hers Relationship Perspectives. This is a fantastic site where we throw out topics for you to comment on. And it sparks great conversation between men and women and how we see things so differently. We all know that men are from Mars and women are from Venus, but we're doing our very best to exist here on Earth. And so we're going to tackle a couple topics tonight, the ones that have been standing out. And we're going to give our perspective, and we're going to share some of the perspectives that you guys have put into it. So I'm going to bring in my co-host for tonight, Mig Mac, all the way from Memphis, Tennessee. What's going on, Mig Mac?
Oh, not much. Just getting off work. How are you doing?
Doing all right, because, again, when we get to this point of our week, we got it on the run. One more day to go, So in case you don't know, we actually host a show on Wednesdays and Sundays called Real Talk for Real Men. I do apologize for missing this week's episode. Duty called work, but we will certainly be back on Sunday. We are part of the TFG TV network and platform of shows, so you can find me on Wednesdays and Sundays on Real Talk for Real Men. And then, of course, on the TFG Tonight with Brenton Haynes and a host of other things that's going on. Be sure to like, subscribe, share. But let's get right into it because we're not going to spend a whole lot of time here. But we want to welcome as viewer brother Kennard. How you doing, my brother? Thanks for popping in on us. And so, Tasha, we're going to get to this very first topic here. And it's an interesting one. This one was from a gentleman who posted a video. And I'm going to play a snippet of the video so that the viewers can get some context before we get into this conversation, So I'm going to share my screen, and it's a real short video, but I want to play this first, and then I want to get your views, and I'm going to share some of the views. Well, I'll get some views from the others first, then I'll actually get yours as well, okay? So, as usual, let's see. Yeah, we're going to share my screen here, so bear with me. Boom, boom, boom. And share. And McMack, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to play this video.
To be a wife.
But why isn't a black woman raised that way?
Most black women are raised to be independent. Remember, let's be real. Most black women are raised to be strong, tough, independent, and don't take no shit. If the daddy wasn't shit, I'll raise you alone by myself. Be a strong black woman. So they come into the game with their guard up ready. A Spanish girl is raised to serve. Yeah. They be cooking for their father at a young age, washing the dishes, washing the table, mopping all Saturday morning. Let's face it, they're raised to serve. If one time I swear to God, I'm at a girl's house having dinner. I got out with my own plate, put it in the garbage, put it in the sink. Her mom spazzed on it in Spanish about da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Now, in the black woman's house, if I get my own plate, she gonna say, "That's a damn good nigga. He got his own shit. I like him." Woman.
Wow. I'm gonna stop sharing. So the question he's raising is: are Spanish women raised to be a wife, while black women are raised to be too independent? What's going on, Brother Brenton? How you doing? Good to see you, my brother. So, before I get your views, Tasha, and I'm so glad I got you here because as a woman, I am truly, truly interested in your take.
Respect your masculine.
But I want to just kind of look at a couple of comments here, and share what they said. Now, one young woman says, when you try to bash black women, but ends up actually identifying the problem as black men. So she watched this video, and that was her takeaway. She said, when you try to bash black women, which that's what she got from it, that he was bashing black women. But in her perspective, he ended up actually identifying the problem as Black men. Another young lady says, and huh? I guess it went over her head. Tasha, what do you think about this? This was a good one. What do you think about this? Are Spanish women raised to be a wife while Black women are raised to be too independent?
If we're just going to talk just germane to this conversation, if we're comparing Hispanic and Black culture, I do believe that, yes, they are more raised to be more serving than Black women. But I don't think that we could just label it just Black women in general. I would question it being cultural. In America, that's not something that is innately taught, and that is no matter who you are. Just as Americans, that's something that we've lacked, that we've gotten away from. You and I always talk about, like the traditional relationships and traditional roles. That's just not something that's upheld anymore. I would say I would challenge it, though. If you went to Africa, I do think that is more along the lines that they are raised to serve more of their husbands. I mean, it's hard. If we're just going to speak just specifically to how he posed it, then yes. I don't really understand how the one young lady got to the point where she said that Black men were the issue. I didn't get that. Maybe, I wish she could expound on that like a little bit more of why it's up to them, why they are the problem, when really it's an individual thing. It's how you run your household. So
thank you. I appreciate your views. I just want to point out one thing. Mm-hmm. Everything you just said, there are many women out there, and I'm gonna give you a chance to defend yourself, will consider you a so-called pick-me based on what you just said. Because based on what you just shared, two things stood out to me. One, for the most part, you agree with them, and two, you didn't pick up on the vibe that the Black man was the problem. And so by today's standards, you would be considered a pick-me if I'm understanding the concept correctly. What do you say to that?
I think it's so funny for a bunch of people who don't like labels. They love to give people different labels who have opposing views as them. I didn't put anybody down. I'm not trying to be picked by anybody. I could give honestly two fucks about that. I'm just stating my opinion as a woman. Too many times it's very easy to say what somebody else is not doing instead of looking at yourself and trying to figure out what are you not doing. We know that we're speaking in general. We're speaking in broad strokes. That's what we're doing. We're painting in broad strokes. We know that there are exceptions to the rule. But when people get upset because you have a different opposing view as them, that's when they go to start slandering you and taking shots at you. Why can't it just be, I just have a different view on it? That's all it is.
Thank you.
And but I don't give a damn, though, because this is my motherfucking opinion. So I don't give a damn.
Bravo. And that's why I want to give you every opportunity, because I know some will look at what you said and, my God, she's a pick me and blah, blah, blah. So thank you for sharing that with us. So I'll give my take on it. I agree with them in many ways. And I think you hit the nail on the head from the beginning, and that is cultural. It's definitely cultural, So if we're talking, in the macro economic level of it, from a large view, you can go to different cultures and they're raised to be more subservient, more wifely, domestic, whatever you want to call it. We think of Japanese women, you know what I'm saying? You think of Italian women, families, there are clearly more defined roles for male and female roles. But if we're going to break it down to the micro level, I agree with what he said in principle. I really do. I grew up in Harlem, New York, and a good part of my life I lived in the South Bronx, which at that time back in the 70s and 80s was predominantly Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and so we were one of the only few Black families living in this particular neighborhood. And we were actually scared at first to live there. Long story short, growing up, there, getting to look at their cultural differences, he is very right. From a young age, I had, young teenage friends that were female Puerto Ricans, and they were being groomed to be domestic. Now, whether you consider that insulting or beneath them or whatever the case might be, but this literally was in their culture to where they were taught at a much younger age, not only to cook and clean, but to cater to men in a sense, where I noticed when the dad would come in and the brothers would come in, they would let the men eat first and take care of them first. And that was just their normal culture. Well, let's fast forward to where we are now. I like the example he gave because I think it's accurate. In many households right now today, where you have cookouts, barbecues, fish, whatever, you do see Spanish women getting up, fixing their man a plate, making sure he's taken care of, and those things, where Black women are being bred with way too much independence, in my personal opinion, because he depicted it correctly. He nothing wrong with his hands, and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And so I think he hit the nail on the head. And I'm with you. I don't see where from that he was bashing women. He was giving his own opinion, his own take, his own experience, and he wasn't bashing women. I do think a lot of women may look at this topic and may have to look inward and ask yourself, am I part of the problem? And maybe that's the reason why you get fucked, but you don't get wifed. Maybe that's the reason why. You could be as sexy and cute as you want to, and yeah, we'll knock you down, but maybe there's a reason why nobody's proposing to you. And that may be because you don't exhibit the qualities that we are looking for as a wife. Go ahead, Tasha.
No, I was just going to say, we really have got to get away from thinking that everything is slandering or talking down about somebody. Just because you don't like a take on it, or you feel like it attacks, and I do use that term loosely, it attacks the group that you identify with. It's not. You really need to evaluate what is being said. Is it constructive criticism? Is there some truth to it? Is the only reason why you react the way that you do is because it does strike a nerve, or maybe because you know people who are like that and you don't want to be associated with that? But now, to your point, I did want to add this. I dated someone who was, he was half Black and half Mexican. And one thing I did notice is with her son, his mother, with all of her sons, she was she babied them. Now, they were expected to work, of course, and have their own jobs and things. But when it came to her son, she did, do everything for them. Absolutely. And like for the daughters, okay, no, it was a different standard. But absolutely, again, you can draw parallels with that in our own culture. So, I mean, it's, people just got to take a step back and really think about it.
Absolutely. And I'll end it by saying that just goes to show, even within different cultures, they're facing some of the same underlying issues in general, because as a mom, if you placate your sons too much, you baby them too much, you enable them too much, in the end, you're hurting them from being the best possible man they could be. Exactly. So that's a whole nother conversation. Okay, let's move on to the second question on TFG's his and hers perspectives. And this one was an interesting one as well. And it asked the question, does sexual pressure from men lead to a woman's higher body count? And I'm going to tell you where we get this one from. I want to share with you what the actual post was on TFG, his and hers perspectives, so you can really get some context again. Now, this seems to be posted from a woman. It is posted from a woman, and she made a statement here. She says, some women have a higher body count because they're afraid to say no when they're put in a situation that involves sexual pressure from a man, but I don't. Let me repeat that. She says some women have a higher body count because they're afraid to say no when they're put in a situation that involves sexual pressure from a man, but I don't. That was her simple statement. This one drew a lot of commentary, lots of commentary. I'm going to see if I can even go back to some of the beginnings of the comments so that you guys can get an idea of, where this went, because There was one young lady, she said, sad but true. This is how it started out. She said, sad but true. Another lady says, I agree. A guy says, interesting. Another guy says, most like sex. Then the lady answers that, what if I told you that women who like sex can also be sexually assaulted? And the gentleman responded, it's unfortunate that sexual assault even exists, but what if I told you the most sexual situations happen willingly? What if I told you every man isn't a rapist? You know, then the lady says, and if she says she got raped, I hope she filed a police report against that dude. As you can see, that conversation led to additional comments. Another lady said, I'm just here to see what these men are going to say because the whole post is facts. That's what she said, facts. Another young lady says, it's true. Another young lady, it's very true. You know, our own channel says, don't do anything you don't want to do and don't do anything you don't feel comfortable doing, which I think is fantastic advice. And again, that rolled to a lot of different comments. Even if you feel your very life is at risk, someone asked. The person that responded, obviously, this is a man speaking. For the record, it's not always that easy. You know, lady says, for the record, that's not me. I haven't chimed in yet. This went on and on. I'm going to share just one more bit of comments. This is a young lady who said, it's true. And any man debating this is deflecting. Women get raped and assaulted daily, and all of a sudden, this has to be a lie? Tasha, what do you think? I could go on and on and on with this one, but what do you think? Because what they're raising is an interesting topic here. Does sexual pressure from men lead to a woman's higher body count? And anybody watching, in case you wonder what we mean by body count, we mean the number of men that she slept with. Because typically, if you ask somebody, how many men have you been with? How many women have you been with? You know, that's what we're talking about. And so what do you think about this, Tasha?
First, I think people are confusing sexual pressure and rape. Two different things. Because to me, sexual pressure still implies to me consent, that you still went along with it. Not rape. We're not talking about, I'm sorry, I'm not going to agree that, rape goes towards your body count. No, it was forcefully taken from you. No. Now, if you were pressured, peer pressured, whatever, or he sweet talked you into it and maybe you just didn't feel like doing it, I'm sorry, I disagree. I would challenge that by saying, what type of people are you subjecting yourself to be around? Who are you letting into your space that you're feeling pressure by? Is this a one-off situation, or is there not a lesson being learned? I mean, because does sexual pressure from men lead to a woman's body count? No, because to me, it's still consensual. You still gave it up. We're not talking about rape. You still willingly gave it up.
Wow. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I think you made a lot of good points. I'm going to start with the very first point that you made, where we talked about rape. Herbert says, she just said something. Thank you, my brother. And that's why, again, in case you guys don't know, she had no idea what topics I was going to bring up. We don't rehearse this. This is all live.
I haven't seen these at all. I didn't get a chance to log in to do anything.
Yeah, so I don't want anybody thinking that this is planted. This is her own genuine opinion. And as she told you in the other segment, she don't give a fuck. It's her opinion. You know what I'm saying? So this is somebody speaking their mind. So I'm gonna start where you started. I do think too, it's interesting that anytime we even remotely challenge a disagreement now in 2022, it some kind of way makes this great leap to, the Me Too thing, where now we're talking about rape and assault and things like that. I didn't get that from this topic. I wanted to explain what body count was because we're talking simply about the number of people you slept with. So the assumption here in that case is people you're choosing to sleep with. Now, we're only debating whether men pressure, put the pressure we might put and input in there, does that affect you doing it? Yes and no.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I know way too many women who say point blank, I was gonna fuck him till he opened his mouth.
Yeah.
I know way too many women said if he would have just shut up, I would have gave him some pussy. So if you want to talk about pressure, I have always firmly believed that as a woman, you pretty much know whether you want to drop them drawers off to me or not. Now I can talk myself out of the pussy, but if I can talk myself out of the pussy, then it stands to reason I should be able to talk myself into it. Now, I ain't never been no 10, never in my life, even when I was slim and fit. But I was a damn sure good talker. Always been lucky with women, and I've talked myself into more pussy that I had no business being in than 10 of them in. Now, if you ask me, did I pressure her to do it? If you call pressure pouring her a drink, if you call pressure turning on some R. Kelly or Johnny Gill, turning the lights down low, if you call whipping my dick out to make her interested in wanting to suck it, I didn't rape her. Now, if I pull my dick out and I got a drink in my hand, I sit back on my couch and I got porn playing, all of these are things that's going on in my environment. Now, if she says in that instance that, oh my God, I feel pressure to suck his dick, thank you, ladies. I really appreciate it. I truly do. But I don't feel in any way that I twisted your arm, I raped you, I demeaned you, and anything like that. And I'm going to say this last part. In 2022, let's get away from this whole concept that women aren't out there putting notches on their bedpost the same way we men do. Stop it. There are many of you, there's just as many of you women out there who love sex, often different partners. You ain't trying to be tied down. You love your legs pent back as far back as we can get them behind your ears. Many of you suck dick and don't drip a drop, and you ain't feel pressured in no kind of way. So don't stop this narrative that some kind of way we pressuring you. You can't have it both ways. Now, when you come out with videos about WAP and we run the world and all this kind of stuff and we in charge and we out here grinding, you can't be the boss on one level and then you demure and all of a sudden you innocent on another. Which is it? Which is it? I have said on many times on my platform, this y'all world. We just live in it. We don't even get to choose any pussy anymore. We have to get chosen. Now, can we influence that decision by how we dress, how we smell, kind of car we drive, the music we play, the type of drinks we serve, talking about pussy and sex and ass and fucking? Yes, we can influence you, but ain't nobody twisting your arm, sweetheart. Stop it. Stop it.
Can I say this, Black?
Sure.
I want to say this. Just because after you done gave it to him, even though you may not have, plan on giving it to him, just because you regret giving it to him or because it wasn't what you thought it was don't blame it on pressure. Didn't your mother ever tell you if your friends jumped off a bridge, would you? You still have to be, you're an adult. You still are responsible for yourself and your own actions.
Absolutely. I want to read a couple of comments because I think they're important. Herbert, my brother, I hope you come back again and again. I would love to have you on live because I love your way your mind works. The best way to get it is to try not to get it. That's been working for years. The devil don't change his tricks. You know why? Because they work. Absolutely. You ignore a woman, sometimes she's going to give you that pussy quicker. Herbert says, single till I'm married is the new hotness. Abso-freaking-lutely. People aren't marrying early anymore. They're staying single as long as they can. I want to share Brittany's point of view. Brittany says pressure and being put in a situation where you feel like your safety is in danger are totally different. Thank you, sweetie. And that's what we agree on. That's a whole different situation. And that's why I want to be clear that not every situation is a Me Too moment. Mm-hmm. And that's why I like what you said, Tasha. In retrospect, I wish I hadn't have done it. That doesn't mean now you get to go back and say he took advantage of me. Let me tell you guys the plain truth, and I've been saying this for years. One of the reasons why I never ask a woman about her body count, because I don't expect her to tell me the truth. I think when you ask a woman how many people she fucked, she's really telling you how many men she liked. She is not counting miscellaneous dick, and she is not counting them offset situations where she want to forget. She's not talking about when she went on vacation with her girlfriends and got a little too tipsy and woke up, all holes plugged up. She's not talking about the guy that put his dick clear down her throat and then she didn't want to fuck him because she threw up or whatever. She's not talking about the guy with a little small dick that she didn't enjoy. She's not talking about the guy that couldn't get up. He was nutted in 2 minutes. Those are instances she want to forget. She is, in her body count, she is talking about the guy she liked. And oh my God, I was in a relationship with him. And oh, I really liked him and this and that. That's what they're talking about. Body count, really? So every situation, just because in retrospect, now you don't get to go back. I hate they do get to, but I'm saying you shouldn't get to go back and say because it was a bad experience, oh my God, he pressured me. No, let me tell you something. For years and years and years, I've been giving women the opportunity of called plausible deniability. Fellas, let me tell you something. Plausible deniability, it actually works. Many, many cases where I tell you what, I've offered a woman a drink and poured her, it can be something as simple as a beer. You know what the very first thing she says? Oh my God, if you give me one more of these, I'm going to have to spend the night. Oh, that went straight to my head. This and that. Plausible deniability is a powerful thing. In reality, people do what they want to do. Does liquor, alcohol, music, lighting, all of those things lower the inhibitions? Absolutely, they're designed to. But trust and believe, you're not holding her down. She's still staying at your place because she liked the music. She liked what she's drinking. The lighting is perfect. Darkness gives people a license to do shit they wouldn't ordinarily do. All those things are beautiful. And so she's staying because she too wants to see what the experience is going to lead to, And Brittany, you say, oh, sympathy pussy, like, let me give this voice. Absolutely. Brittany, I've had pussy just about every kind of way you can think of. And whether they gave it to me because they felt sorry for me or not, it never mattered because I got that pussy still. If my dick didn't stay hard, I still was in their head and tail, and it counts. So whatever reasons you want to tell yourself, I took it. I'll take it. I'm a fat old man now. If you just want to see what it's like to have sex with a fat old man, I'm here in Buckhead. Holla at your boy. Okay, we're going to go ahead to topic number 3 and wrap this thing up. This next one was an interesting one as well. If a man pays 100% of the bills and wakes you at 3 a.m. to cook, what are you doing, ladies? What in the world are you doing? Brother Herbert, yeah, we keeps it real on this one, my brother. So let me read a couple of quick comments from this segment here, because this was another one that posed a very interesting situation where it was posed directly to women. And this was by a woman. She says, ladies, your husband who pays 100% of the bills wakes you at 3 a.m. and asks you to cook. What are you doing? Now, let's look at a couple of comments. One lady says, it really depends on how I feel. LOL. I like to cook multiple meals at one time sometimes, and I have him get the hell out the kitchen. When I'm in my mode, I'm in my mode. So if I feel it, yeah, I might get up. It truly is no longer about him. LOL, cooking is a therapy for me. Interesting comments. Let's read a couple of more. This gentleman says, well, I ain't gonna read that one. Because this is applying, they're replying to someone else. I want to get something good. Here's a guy. He says, I cook and have catered to my lady who wanted something to eat. It wasn't out of a deep sleep, though. Only my hunger infants get that treatment. I wouldn't expect my wife to get up either, but if I'm paying for everything, then when I get home, I better not be lacking anything. Prepared food, rest, etc. Blah, 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 blah. Of course, that drew some comments. The young lady says exactly what this post is talking about. If I'm taking care of you, then what's the problem? The brother says, well, what you're saying is 100% is reasonable. Paying all the bills as a man doesn't mean she should be a slave. However, a lot of women have a hard time grasping the concept that if a man pays all the bills, most of us expect, rightfully so, the comfort of not having to worry about too many domestic duties. A good woman would definitely seek to master this part of the relationship, knowing she is completely taken care of by her husband from a financial standpoint. And that's coming from a man. Tasha, where do you stand on this one right here? That if a man is paying 100% of the bills, and I know you don't like to be woke up, it wakes you up.
Oh, you know what? Let me just say this. I know that you should get up, but let me just say this. If me having to break my sleep because you are paying 100% of the bills, I'll just take my ass to work. I would just much rather go to work as opposed to getting up. I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and go get like a job doing something. I don't know, but we both got to leave the house. Please don't wake me up. But now, having said that, I will say this. I do think everything now is so tit for tat in relationships, so transactional. Everything now is, if you do this, I do this. If you do, not because it's born out of love or because that's the way, that you should be doing. But, like I've seen women, on different platforms who post that their husbands work in construction. So they're getting up, and ironically, Hispanic women, they're getting up like at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. And they're cooking their husband, breakfast, a hot breakfast, doing their lunch, and then sending them on their way. But then they're at home, like with the kids. Again, for me, if you got to pay all the bills, and it means that number one, that I have to have children and that I have to stay home, I'll just get a job.
Bravo, sister.
I ain't mad at you. It ain't that serious.
My brother Vernon speaks from his sports show. He says transactional is a good point. Brittany says Uber run 24/7. 24/7, yes indeed. And Herbert, he agrees that the comments were all over the place, and they really were, and they're still going. Just so you know, these topics are still up there, still going. So let me go. Let me chime in. Okay. I have issues with the very beginning part of it. A man paying 100% of the bills. I'm not. If that's what you choose to do, and that's what works for you, I would never do it. And I personally think it makes for trouble down the road. There's a song, B.B. King song says, I'm paying the cost to be the boss. Now, am I marrying a woman or a child? Is she my wife, or am I going to treat her like my child? I personally want my woman to work and to have as much vested into the relationship as me. And when I say vested, I mean paying the bills too, sweet. You know what I'm saying? To be vested in it with me means that we walk in as partners. I expect to share the duties. And in case, when I say duties, I cook better than most women. So I'm going to get to that in a second. But I want you to be just as invested in this relationship as I am, because for me, when we get to the point where we're exclusive, I'm invested in it now. And my thing is, I'm not going to be paying all the bills. I'm not the only one eating. I'm not the only one taking a bath, watching TV. I'll be damned if you're going to sit up on your musty ass at home watching network TVs and stuff. And the only thing you got to do is wait. You got me all the way fucked up. I need you out there working so we can get it together. That's number one. I think work makes people vested in it. It makes you strong, and it gives you an equal voice in it. So that's number one. Having said that, I got to answer the question. If I were paying 100% of the bills, and I came in and I woke you up at 3 o'clock in the morning, let me be clear. I'm being honest here. Now, if it's done with love, it's not what you do sometimes, it's how you do it. Mm-hmm. So I'm not advocating that just because a man is paying the bills that, hey, get up, I'm hungry. No, you should hit him in his motherfucking mouth at that point. You're a grown-ass woman. I get that. I won't have a problem in the world with that. That's disrespectful on so many levels. But if I'm legitimately hungry, there's a reason. I work that late shift and I'm coming in and there is nothing cooked. So it depends on the situation now. Now, this is where, if you're in a relationship, surely, if you know your man coming in late, why not leave something out for him? My wife used to leave sticky notes all over the place. Baby, your plate is in the microwave. All you got to do is warm it up. But you're right, Tasha. And today's relationship is very transactional. Y'all do this for you if you do this for me. That's why I'm single. For me, if I come in and I'm doing it with love, baby, I'm hungry. Can you get up and fix me something to eat? And I'm paying all the bills, and you gripe, you might get the gripe that one time. I'm gonna put your monkey ass out. Because if I'm paying all the bills, as BB King says, I am paying the cost to be the boss then, because then you don't have nothing vested in it. Because what I'm not going to be is these new age fools. You got me fucked up again if you think I'm going to pay the bills and your name is on the deed or on the lease. You just a damn fool then. Fellas, if you are paying all the bills, make sure you can pull the strings. So my thing is, if I'm saying this with love and there's a legitimate reason why I want to eat at 3 a.m. in the morning and she got a problem with that, and while we at it, since we're going to end this segment, cooking, fucking, cleaning, whatever I need at 3 a.m. in the morning, let's get it done. That's what I expect. You know, Destiny's Child say in one of their songs, you cater to you. When I tap you on the shoulder, if I'm paying all the bills, roll your ass over, pin your legs back, crop up on all fours. Let's get it. Feed me, fuck me, shut up. You know? All right. That's my take. You know, Vernon says being a stay-at-home mom is a job too. It absolutely is. I'm not taking anything away from that. But if that's one that you choose to do, you know, because I hate when people bring that up. If you choose to stay home and be a mom, then don't turn around and bitch and moan and complain about it. You know, because if you are fortunate to be in a situation where that man is allowing you and he's funding you to do that, then still, that don't mean that you get to say no to certain things, in my opinion. You're choosing to be a stay. You had a choice in that. So you once again, you can't have it both ways. Oh my God, I want to be here with my son, and I want to miss those precious moments. I want to make sure I see him when he walked the very first time, you know. And then when I ask you to cook or fuck, then now you got a problem with it. No, we're not gonna do that, sweetie. Shantae says, so that's a no to a stay-at-home wife for you, huh? Shantae, yes. I personally don't see the need for stay-at-home mom. I never have. I'm the product of 11 kids and a single mom. My mom worked her ass off cleaning houses and toilets, and she taught us the value of work. And I think the value of hard work is just as good for a woman as it is for a man. You know, and so that stay-at-home shit, I'm not with it. If we have kids, let's make some conscious, good decisions about what we're going to do, whether we take turns, whether we get a babysitter in-house, whatever. But both of us need to be working. In 2022, the way Biden got us all the way fucked up out here, we need real salaries coming in this junk for us to get where we're trying to go. And I'm going to leave it at that. Tasha, you got any last words to say?
No, I think you summed it up. You always have to consider, the grass ain't always green on the other side. You know, you have to consider, what are you really giving up when you were allowing someone else to be 100% in control of paying for everything for you? You were literally at their mercy.
There you go. Well said. So this has been another segment of Lee Black on TFG's His and Hers Relationship Perspectives. Join the ride. Join this train ride, people, if you haven't already. Go to the page, comment, like, share. More importantly, TFG TV, subscribe to all of the shows on the platform. Tasha and I, once again, we host Real Talk for Real Men. You just got a taste of what we do. We keep it real, we keep it raw, we keep it honest, and that's the only way we know how to do. We're on every Wednesday, every Sunday, Wednesday at 8 o'clock. This is all Eastern Standard Time, and Sundays at 6 o'clock. If you can, please find us on YouTube, like, subscribe, share my channel, and I hope to see you back here next week again, where we're going to tackle some more topics on TFG's His and Hers Relationship Perspectives. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week. God bless and good luck. And always